Hey guys, Xaryu here, and today I want to walk you guys through some more subscriber sent in gameplay. The last video I posted of this, you guys were like, we want more of this. We want to see other people play and you break it down because it's so helpful. And another subscriber sent in gameplay, so let's check it out. Alright, so hopping into the game, here we have Paladin, Windwalker Monk, and Frost Mage. They're playing some Windwalker Mage Pally, and they're fighting a Shadow Priest, Holy Pally, and Death Knight here on Ruins of Lord Aran. So we're going to hop into the game here and kind of see right away. I think I would be playing maybe Tunnel of Ice, maybe Flash Freeze, and general objective is to CC the Pally and probably kill the Shadow Priest, maybe cross CC onto the DK when you can, or maybe just go for big double leg sweeps or triple leg sweeps and go for big burst with the orb comes from Ice Nova. Right away, you put the Pally in focus, you target the priest. Perfect. That's what I like to see. Game starts, target the guy, target the healer, target the guy that you want to kill. This is great. Your monk runs in, maybe a little bit too quick, but getting some damage out right away. Looks like you're going to start with a poly rather, onto the paladin, and this is good. What we would like to see is probably some setup onto the priest from your monk. So I would like your monk to be like hitting the priest, kind of priming him up. So as the sheep hits, maybe the priest is already 90 or 85% life, or maybe just no power bird shield, so you don't have to spend a global or two spell stealing. And then right away here, since the Pally and the priest are separated, I would love to see something like Orb, Comet Storm, Ice Nova, get all of your AoE abilities out of the way so that you have your Ebon Bolt and your Ray of Frost if they were stacked to where you wouldn't want it to break CC. I would also keep in mind Counterspell for the Master Spell that might come out from the Shadow Priest onto the Polymorph, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe a Root or something for the Death Knight. So let's go ahead and play the video, see what happens. Master Spell comes out, you Counterspell it, you use the Orb, the Comet Storm, and a bunch of Ice Lances. I love it. The Shadow Priest, did he disperse there? He's not taking too much. Oh, he faded. He instantly faded. So what should have happened for this fade is that your monk should have swept the priest. If your monk sweeps the priest, the trinket fade has to come out, not just the fade. So it's actually really unfortunate. You got a really nice opener, but since there was no stun at all on the priest, he got away with just using fade. And this is like Fane's Orb, like this is so much of your damage, and the priest just fades. So a little unfortunate there. Casting the Blizzard to get the triple sheep there onto the Pally. Priest taking a ton of damage. Now the leg sweep comes out. So this is a little bit just too late on the leg sweep. If the leg sweep comes out now, I would rather see you wait until the whole next go. And what I mean by go is 15 seconds on the Poly DR, then get the Poly, then get the next leg sweep, instead of using the leg sweep now. Leg sweep now is a waste because Pally can just sack the priest. Pally uses Divine Favor. I would love to see a spell steal on it. Let's see, you get this. Looks like you get the spell steal, which is beautiful. Didn't quite get the kick. You didn't have kick up, but it looks like you get the spell steal on that. Karma comes out. Touch Death comes out. Looks like the priest is going to take a good amount of damage, but the damage is a bit wasted because there's no diminishing return. So that's something you could maybe let your monk know, is that save those offensive cooldowns for that next go. Casting Frostbolts, building up more damage. I like it. Maybe throwing out some CC on the DK, or throwing out some damage on the DK. So here's where you could like sheep the DK if you want. Looks like you're throwing a Frostbolt on the DK just to keep him slowed, but you could sheep the DK in between that go. You have 5 more seconds till the Polymorph DR comes off on the Pally. I would love to see you just casting Frostbolts, building up Icicles. Looks like you're doing that. And boom, full sheep the Pally off the DR. Perfect. Love it. Now the Priest is the target of choice here. He does have Dispersion and Life Swamp, it looks like. Pally goes in the sheep and you guys force disperse. Game's going great so far. You know with the DK, try to Ring of Frost the DK, you get kicked, you go for the resheep on the Paladin. This is great. I would continue casting Frostbolts, getting Icicles. Looks like you have your Orb back up for this next go. Full Hammer of Justice comes out. Tons of damage coming in from the Priest. There's his Fade. The Priest still has a Life Swap, throwing another sheep to the DK. I love it. Maybe throw another sheep to the DK. You could cast more Frostbolts just to build up some Icicles. I wouldn't necessarily swap on Sack here. Doesn't really matter. I think the Priest is for sure the kill. So as soon as the next Polymorph comes up, boom, full Polymorph. You throw out the Orb. Absolutely love it. Don't waste too much damage in the DK. That's fine. Pally bubbles. Not sure if he's going to be able to survive. Big heal coming out from the Pally. Spamming Holy Lights, but you guys just tunneling him down. Looks like he's going to be okay for now, though. And you're casting the Blizzard to get the Orb back. I don't mind it. Throwing in the Blink Nova. Don't mind it. Sheep DR is off now, so be looking for a sheep onto the Pally. You get the full Hammer of Justice Master Spell coming out. He MDs the Hajj into the full Poly. So now the full Poly landed. You get the leg sweep on the priest. The priest trinkets. It's probably going to be life swap. You throw the resheep out on the pally. Maybe looking for a life swap here. Not quite sure if it's going to happen. Love the blizzard, by the way, to get the orbs back. You do get the orb back. You get the spell steal kick, and the priest goes down. So this is actually like a really good game. Really, really good game from the mage point of view here. He's casting frostbolts to get the icicles. He's controlling in between the goes. He pretty much sheathed the pally on diminishing return, which I love. And you got the fade. You got the disperse. You got the fade again. I don't know if the swap ever came out. I don't think this. Maybe he wasn't playing swap. And you got the trinket, the bubble, and the sack from the pally. You guys rotated through all the defensives, did a couple goes, and won the game. This is actually a pretty good game here. What I would really like to see is just in that opener, I would like to see a stun so he doesn't get the fade off, and then the whole go's kind of wasted, and then all the damage after that fade was like no good. So realize it's either the go's happening or the go's over in a comp. Excuse me, like in a comp with like Frost Windwalker. It's not just like the go can just continually go. It's like you have a bunch of burst or nothing, bunch of burst or nothing. But yeah, solid game there. I want to check out the damage. I'm curious on the MMR stuff like that. So let's go ahead and fast forward. Okay, so it looks like it's around 1800 MMR. Here's the damage breakdown. So looks like Monk actually came up on top. And then we have DK, and then we have Mage, and we have Shadow Priest. That's a little interesting. You actually did a good amount of damage with the Mage. The Shadow Priest was a little low, but it probably because he was being trained down. That's kind of what we would expect. Let's hop into another match. All right, guys. So here in the next match, we're fighting RMP. Looks like Frost Assassin Discipline Priest here on Ashamane's Fall. And they're playing the exact same thing. So let's take a look and see. Right away, the Monk gets sapped. He has the Priest on the focus. Garrote comes out on the pally. And the Rogue and the Mage are opening on the pally. So right now, what I'd recommend doing is hold off on any type of offensive pressure. I would start to defensively peeling, right? Sheeping the Mage, sheeping the Rogue, counterspelling the Mage, spell stealing the Mage, stuff like that. I would keep in mind that the Mage has a counterspell, so if you just cast Polymorph, you could get locked on it, meaning you can't peel at all. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And then once your pally is safe, once your pally is okay, then go for the Sheep on the Priest. And probably a big burst. I would probably say you could go Rogue, but you could go Rogue or Mage depending on the situation. So it looks like you go for a kick there, but you actually do get kicked and polymorph. The enemy team's doing a great job of locking you down. They're getting a ton of damage out onto your pally, which is scary. But it looks like that leg sweep comes out, and the Priest paints up the Mage for no reason. Gets the Mage's trinket as well, and you're starting to build up damage. You sheep the Priest. Looks like something breaks it, or he might have premmed it there. Going for a resheep onto the Priest, which I love. And you guys get the Cloak from the Rogue, the Pain Step from the Priest, and the Trigger from the Mage. And your pally did survive, so this is actually not a bad spot to be in. Mage still has both blocks available to him. You're casting out the Frost Bolts, getting up the Icicles, sitting the Polys a little bit, but that's just bound to happen. Totally okay there. You have the Blizzard out. You have that Orb ready. The Priest comes off Polymorph DR like right now, so you can start pushing in, start looking for that Polymorph. Hammer of Justice comes out on the Mage, and he does go into that Ice Block. You guys didn't even get any CC. You did a ton of damage. Now you get the CC, and the Priest does trinket. What I would say, though, is if you already got the block from the Mage, you kind of want to wait to CC the Priest, unless you're trying to kill through. If you're trying to kill through and the Mage already got the defensive cooldown, a lot of times it's not going to happen. So this sheep might have been a waste, but since he trinketed, it was completely okay. But at higher MMR, if you did sheep at that time, it might have been a waste. You could have waited till that next stun onto the Mage, the next Hammer of Justice, or that next leg sweep. Continuing damage, building up the Icicles, loving it. Really just want to, keep your teammates safe. This bomb comes out, looks like they want your Monk. He trinket, gets out of that smoke bomb, and you really, like right here, when your pally is in CC, what you're really keeping an eye on, let me even rewind it, is stopping the fear coming out from the Priest, or stopping the sheep coming out from the Mage, or stopping the resap coming out from the Rogue. Essentially, you want to get your Paladin out of CC, right? You want to get your pally out of CC. So if you just continually maybe sheep the Mage at a time like this, sheep the Rogue at a time like this, that is a good thing to do, right? Sheep the DPS when you're trying to prevent them from doing another go. Evan Bolt coming out, it does get locked. Full sheep there onto the Priest, love it. Tons of damage coming onto the Mage, love it. Temp shield, touch of death. If you guys don't even get the temp, you might just die 20%. Boom. Temp takes him back up. It's almost full HP. Hammer of Justice comes out. Polly's being spammed out onto you. It looks like they're doing another go on your pally, so you could get some CC here onto them and kind of peel. But it looks like the Mage just flops. So you guys just do a ton of damage, and that's kind of what I talked about at the start of this video. Sometimes you'll do CC goes with like sheep and leg sweep. Sometimes you'll just get a triple leg sweep, and they'll all kind of stack up, get that triple leg sweep, and you'll just kill. So that is kind of how this comp works as well. Another solid game of killing the Mage. couple things to keep in mind as far as CC timings, as far as getting that re-CC onto the priest or trading out defensive cooldowns. But overall, well played. I think juking the kick on that first go as well definitely helps you out. But, you know, getting kicked obviously happens. So let's hop into one more match. All right, guys. Tiger's Peak Arena, Destruction, Warlock, Unholy Death Knight, and Holy Paladin. And once again, they're playing the Frost Windwalker setup. Looks like it's going to be a very similar open here. Frost Nova into the Ring of Frost onto the Pally. I actually really like what you did there. You got Counterspelled and Arcane, and you go for the Nova Ring onto the Pally, into the full Hammer of Justice. Veins coming out. A lot of cooldowns committed, and you're getting the leg sweep, forcing defensives. I like it. Going for maybe one more sheep onto the Pally. Good. Like that as well. Blinking away. You can expect Paladin to maybe do an Aura cast here. You switch the focus to the DK, going for some sheeps on him. I love that. Since the Warlock has offensives up and he's spamming bolts, I would not mind you guys just running away in line of sighting. Definitely a good strategy against Warlocks, since they do have these burst windows. Polymorph DR is off and you're already running in. You get the full poly, but he does sack it, and the DK Dark Sims the poly, so he's probably going to poly your Paladin off of that fear. It looks like he does, and you force, the first block comes out. Faking a Dark Sim is something you can consider so he doesn't steal the polys, but at the end of the day, it does happen sometimes, so it's not like the worst thing ever, but it does happen. Another thing is the Pally sacked your sheep. Once again, it sucks, but it's also not terrible because you have to get the sack out of the way anyway. So since the sack came out in the Warlock, it's almost like you just got sack. You already got Pally's Trinket. You trade out the block. So this isn't like the worst trade. I would sit this entire block. I would just... the thing is, I might have even line of sighted before all of this happened, until those Infernals were away or until the Warlock cooldowns were down, so that you didn't have to trade off the block in the first place, and then get something more guaranteed, like a Hammer of Justice into the sheep so he couldn't sack it. So like all of these things aren't bad, but it could have been better. Line of sight, and then getting the sheep off of the Hammer of Justice so he couldn't pre-sack. Okay, so you're going to sit the full block. Looks like that's totally okay. Kind of hanging out. Don't mind it. Ring of Peace comes out. You get coiled out of it. A lot of damage coming in. There's Maledict. Looks like your healer dispels it. Full Hammer of Justice. You're taking so much damage. And once again, against Destruction Warlocks, I would not be afraid to just line of sight for a little bit. You don't have to play super aggro all the time. Full Sheep coming out onto the Paladin. Love that full Polymorph. It's like another big go here onto the Warlock. You try to blink the bolt, but you don't quite make it. Tons of damage coming in. Temp Shield a little bit too late, and you have to go into the block. So once again, this second block, he stole the sheep, he sheeped your Pally, and then you sat in the open and you took bolts. All right, against Destruction Warlock, line of sight is your friend. Whoever they're on has to play a little bit more safe. It's just how it's going to have to be. You can't play as aggressive. I know it's fun to play aggressive, and I know it's fun to push out, get that CC, and win in 3 or 4 goes, but you can't do that against Destruction Warlocks. You have to be more patient, play a bit slower, line of sight, get the CC when you can, and then go. So you really want to keep that in mind. Also, if the sheeps keep getting stolen and the DK is becoming very predictable with his Dark Sims, just go ahead and fake out the Dark Sim from the DK as well. Start casting Poly, heal Dark Sim, give him an Ice Lance instead, and then go from there. All right, so now you have no block. So now you should be playing very ultra defensive in this matchup. Temp takes you back. Nice temp there. Warlock's casting Fear. DK's getting the job done. Poly DR off on the Pally in 7. You get freedomed, and you're playing on the pillar. I finally like that. He does grip you back out. You run back to the pillar. 1 bolt onto you. Not going to hurt too bad. Leg Sweep comes out on the Lock and the Paladin, which I don't mind. And the Full Sheep comes out on the DK. You're orbing everything. Let's see you guys do a Pally Swamp. He does get away. There's the Divine Favor and the full heal as well. Chaos Bolt's coming out. You kick it. Don't mind it. I don't know if I like that go onto the Paladin. You guys pretty much got Pally Wall from your 1 leg sweep once a minute. I would have almost rather seen just another setup where like you sheep the Pally and go Warlock to get more defensives. Because at this point you're down in defensives and you're not getting too much offensive. And boom, you actually go down. Okay, so let me see how this happened. Your Pally gets locked. You get stunned. You throw the Temp Shield at a great time actually at 60% life. Pally's full Hammer of Justice. The Repentance is being cast by the Pally here. You don't have Counterspell available. If your Monk can stop the Repentance, you might have lived. The full Repentance comes out now. If your Pally had any heals for you, this Temp would have procced most likely. So stopping the Repentance off of the Hammer of Justice is huge. Definitely really want to keep an eye on that. Whether it's Counterspell, whether it's Paralyzed, whether it's your Monk Kick, whether it's, anything really. If you could pre-sheep it, that would be great. But yeah, so offensively, not terrible. I would like to see just more Warlock goes, cleaner Warlock goes. Now, defensively is where I think you guys could have done a lot better here. Line of sight in between the goes. Wait out the Destruction Warlock cooldowns. When you're not going for a kill, that means when you don't have Poly DRs, you don't have Leg Sweep, or you don't have Hammer of Justice, you're running out, line of sighting, waiting, and then running back in. So you can play very ultra defensive and kind of let them overextend. Once they're overextending, boom, then do the go. So when they push onto your territory, you have the initiative, right? You can kind of set up the goes around them overextending. That's a lot better than you pushing in onto them, and then they get the setup. So kind of just play back more defensive against Destruction Warlocks, and eventually they're going to have to push in. That's where you get your setups. If they never push in, you can just keep doing your setups like once a minute when you actually have those big cooldowns, and eventually they'll have nothing left if you play very Go style where you just get cooldowns, run away, get more defensives, run away until they have nothing left. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you guys want more sub-commentary gameplay where I break down your guys' gameplay, by the way, these are subscribers on Twitch. Definitely let me know. I can, get more footage like this and break it down at all different MMRs, whether it's 1800, 2K, 2500, whatever it is. Let me know. Thumbs video down, guys, if you didn't like it. Talk to me in the comments about what type of videos you guys want to see in upcoming videos. Follow me on Instagram. Every time I upload a new YouTube video, I throw it up onto the Instagram, Xaryu LOL, plus a bunch of IRL stuff, workout stuff, fitness stuff, when I'm going live on Twitch, all of that stuff on the Instagram. So follow me over there, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next upload. Peace.